Hey guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Simon and I am the DIY car guy. Before I get started on today's video, you can see this is a new channel. We are gaining some really cool traction, which is really fantastic. So I want to say thank you to you guys for sitting back and watching my videos and learning something. But for you guys that are new here on this channel, I take you through maintenance and tuning on modern day sports cars, as you can see behind me, maintenance and tuning on four-wheel drives, and of course, full track spec builds, as you can see behind me there, with things like turbo conversions, roll cages, suspension upgrades, brake rebuilds, and all that kind of stuff. So if that is something that you're interested in learning more about, please consider subscribing with the button down below and leaving me a thumbs up, because it just helps the YouTube algorithm greatly and it helps my channel grow. And of course, it's no time out of your day. So without further ado, let's get started on today's job. Legends, today's job is an oil change on this 2015 Mitsubishi Challenger. It's worth noting that a 2015 Mitsubishi Challenger is fitted with the exact same engine as the 2015 onwards, or even the 2013, 2012 onwards Mitsubishi Triton / L200. So this process is going to be exactly the same as that vehicle. However, an oil change on a car is an oil change, all right? And there's a few things that we need to locate. The first thing we need to locate is the oil filler cap, which is usually on top of the engine. And we also need to locate the oil filter. That oil filter can be found on this vehicle right down there underneath the turbo, and I'm going to shove a little arrow in there so you can see it on the YouTube video. And it could be on either side of the engine, so just take a look. But on this vehicle, it is right down here underneath, and you can see it. I get my hand down in there. Whoa, there we go, right here. There where my finger is, underneath the turbocharger. And the last thing you need to locate is the sump plug. That is usually underneath. Well, you say usually, it's always underneath, and you can't see it at the moment because we just need to remove the stone guard. So guys, let's get started, and step by step I'm going to take you through how to do an oil change on your own vehicle.
Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain, but
And here is the sump plug. You have a front stone guard that is underneath the radiator, and then there's a second stone guard here that you need to remove, and then it is a 17mm socket on the sump plug. I literally have a breaker bar right now that comes all the way out to the front of the car. I'm just gonna crack that off. Wow, that was easy. It's always easy with a massive breaker bar. Then I'm just gonna move the drip tray. It's here, you can see underneath the sump plug. Then what I'm gonna do, just gently remove this, making sure the washer comes with it. And then as it gets to the point where I'm like, okay, cool, yep, it's ready to come out now, you can see it kind of seeping out. All I'm going to do is I'm pushing it up into the sump right now, so it's kind of sealed, and I'm just going to pull it away quick. And I didn't get too much oil over my hand. Tiny little bit, but not as much as you normally do. All right, so while that drains out underneath, time to get through oil filter now, because we also need to change that when we do an oil change. So the easiest way to do that is just going to make some room for yourself, okay? So we're going to move this cold air intake, this factory cold air intake, and we're also going to move this accordion hose that goes from the air box down into the intake on the turbo. So all you need to do that is a 10mm spanner with a long arm, because there's one down there. I'm going to 10mm here, 10mm over here, and then some long nose pliers so we can squeeze that, shift that up, and then we can pull this accordion hose out of the way. And that's just going to give us a lot more room to reach down into the engine bay to get access to the oil filter.
So I'll keep hustling, you keep struggling, bitch, I'm humbling. Keep mumbling, I'll keep doubling, you keep bluffing, you've got nothing.
All right, and so there we have the oil filter. You can see I've made some space, so I'm going to try and reach down there, undo it with my hand, but if I can't, I'm going to give you guys a little trick that you can undo the oil filter with a spanner and a dog lead. Set this up here so we can kind of see maybe. There we go. Ooh, perfect, like it was made for it. No chance. Oh, yeah, boy. There we go. Pays to go to the gym, folks. All right, so I'm just going to loosen that off. I'm going to get a rag to put underneath it so I don't drip oil all through the engine bay. All right, so we're just going to remove this bottom intake hose on the turbo, or the bottom hose anyway. This hose leads to the stock intercooler, actually, interestingly enough. And I don't, unfortunately, have a 6mm socket, which is what this is. So you just here with the screwdriver. All right, but that seems to be enough. So that can come out of the way. And then the oil filter out. Before you apply the new oil filter, what you want to do is just, you can see that there's oil all around here. All we're going to do is just going to wet this rubber seal with some fresh oil just to help it seal and bite against the block so we don't get any oil leaks at the oil filter. So all we do is get our finger a little bit wet with some fresh oil and just spread that around. You don't want to soak it, just nice and lubricated. Yeah, all in there. That's it, good shit. Ready to go on the car. Just get rid of that. All right, sit this back in here so you guys can watch. And let's get to work. Hose out of the way. Slot that down in there. Just rest for a second. Please don't go anywhere. All right. Now, what we do, locate the thread and just gently spin that on. And it doesn't need to be like, you don't need to wrench it on tight with anything, you just want it to seal. So I'm just going to put it on with both hands once I can't move it anymore with my right hand. And reach down there. There we go. Just hand tight, you don't need to wrench it on, just put it as tight as you can with your hand and that should seal nicely. And then what we're going to do is replace the sump plug. Now I have a new sump plug here and I'll show you the difference. This is obviously the one we took out and this is the new one. So you can see they're the same size. The only difference with this one is it has an O-ring on it. Now this is the one that was recommended for the vehicle. I would assume it just adds that little bit extra security for the vehicle itself so we don't drip anything. But yeah, brand new sump plug. It costs like 14 bucks. You can you reuse the old one, but you do need to make sure that if you do that, you replace the washer. And you can see here that the washer is really compressed there up against the threads. See if I can, it is stuck on good there. Yeah, but you definitely do need to replace the washer if you're not replacing the sump plug, because these are a crush washer, which means that they crush down as you bite them into the thread. So let's go under the car and replace that. All right, so let's get started. All we do now, put this in and screw it back in. Now that O-ring there expands as it comes into contact with oil, apparently. So we just screw that in. My ratchet. Tighten that up. And then I've got my torque wrench to torque it in. So the torque spec that I'm torquing this to is just 39 Newton meters. So let's go. Oh, didn't click yet, bit more. There you go. Done. So 39 Newton meters on the torque wrench. Clean it up, give it a little bit of a wipe. That way, if it does leak, you'll be able to see it. So yeah. All right, so just gonna refill everything. What I've got is a rag around here, just so if it does spill anywhere, the rag's gonna catch it. And then just gonna make sure that I hold on to the funnel a little bit. Should be able to pull this out, and we should be good to go. There we are. Perfect. So we're right on the max, shade over the max, which is fine because remember the oil filter's dry. There's a brand new filter, so that is going to hold a little bit of oil as well. All that's left to do now is clean up our tiny little oil spill here and then reattach everything down here. Guys, that's how you do an oil change on pretty much any vehicle, okay? Remember, locate the oil filter, locate the filler cap, and locate the sump plug. Remove the sump plug, drain the oil, remove the oil filter, replace the oil filter, replace the sump plug, and fill it back up. Super simple. Guys, thanks for watching. Please leave a thumbs up, and if you did like the video, please consider subscribing to my channel.